Hello, welcome everybody. I am RxOliver and this is the gang, and we're back for Cities Without Number side jobs. This is session 2. Sorry it's been so long, we missed the last one because I was unwell. I am back with Martin, Chris and Brian, and can't wait to get into it, so just going to hand it straight over to him. Brian, it's all yours, mate.
Alright, so when we last left off, move you all over to the map here. We were, if you want to look over to the kind of lower right-hand corner of the map, we were in the Sage Barrens, which is, for lack of a better term, a slum. There are still some taller buildings here, but a lot of them have the upper floors are either open to the air or just crumbled completely. It looks like a lot of the buildings are roughly, bombed out shells more than anything. In addition to that, there's a lot of buildings that have additional construction on them made out of, various scavenged materials, metals, and tarps and things like that. It's densely populated, densely packed, but nowhere near as chrome and clean as the main part of the city across the river. And you were here looking for a Dominic and Miranda, a pair of siblings, elves, that were seen crossing the bridge. You caught that on camera and verified that they were in fact in the vehicle crossing the bridge into Sage. The assumption was that they were heading towards the red light district, essentially.
What's her name again? Dominic and
Miranda?
Miranda
is
she's the famous one.
The woman that you've been hired to find, specifically. There was no mention outside of your own interacting with people at the club. There was no mention of Dominic, so either someone is not concerned about his whereabouts or his state. Well, there's no either to it. They're not. Like, you were not hired to find him, you're hired to find her.
And the brother and sister, but they're not actually brother and sister, right?
Well, as we discussed last time, they will often refer to each other as brother and sister.
That's a clan.
They are part of the same clan of elves, which is in the chat window, the Narolo from Tir-Tir-Gyre, which is the kind of North American elven nation that exists a pretty significant way to the northeast, right? It's kind of up near Seattle area, but they have opened up an embassy essentially in the Forest Park region of Central Gateway, where there is also an embassy to the Native American nations. So both of those entities have embassies in Forest Park. Forest Park being a long-standing park in Gateway, but now it's been allowed to just kind of go wild. So it's more of an actual forest, almost nearing the level of jungle, as opposed to a well-tended city park. At any rate, you had driven into the Sage Barrens in Cutter's truck. You've put the camper shell on the back of it, and I think some of you are riding in the back.
Yep.
Null and Burn are with Cutter as is, because you decided to include him on the contract.
Sigil. Sigil, that's it.
Sigil, who is your decker, essentially, your hacker.
Who I almost accidentally killed because I was ignorant to what he was doing. I was like, no! Oops.
Jacking boys out of the Matrix before they're ready, like.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Just ripping that cord out.
It's my first time in Cyberpunk, guys.
So, also as a part of your research, you discovered that the Sage Barrens area is currently held by a primarily orc and troll gang known as the Billikens. Their colors are silver and blue, and their tag is generally this kind of demonic looking, grinning, laughing face that's half blue and half silver. They are very much a troll and orc oriented gang. They do not like elves, they do not like humans.
Is that how you spell it?
Who else? Billykins. But yeah, you pretty much got it.
Got it.
Or is there an E at the end? Let me double check. Look at one of my NPCs here.
It's important to get the lore spelled correctly, like.
Yeah, Billiken. Billikens.
Okay. Billikens. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
So yeah, word on the street is they hold the area. They don't necessarily keep non-orc and troll races out because it is also the red light district. But they have been known to rough people up who are not orcs and trolls.
They'll be alright 'cause they're with me.
Well, I think that was the hope, yeah.
This data in the back, maybe not because he's an elf.
Right.
Sigil.
So, I think your thought was last session was
stay in the water.
you wanted to contact the Billikens. You don't know where their hideout is, if they have one. They probably do, but you don't know where it is. You do see as you're driving through the streets, though, heading towards the red light district, that there are a lot of orcs and trolls with the blue and silver colors, either tattooed or face paint in some cases. Clothing is generally silver and blue. I think we'll move into the red light district.
Do we know?
So,
and maybe
yeah.
as an orc, and I've grown up poor, I know a bit about the gangs and stuff. Do I know if they have a rival gang, and if so, what the dangerous colour, what colour you don't accidentally wear around here is? So if they're silver and blue, is their friends like black and red or something, or like, is there a thing?
Well, there are a couple of other gangs in the area. You all would know that there's a Go gang, which is a term that's used for gangs that are made up primarily of like people who ride bikes. You know, kind of like, you know, think like Akira style bikes, not like choppers, right? These are people that ride high tech, fast bikes along the loops and the highways.
Super bikes.
Nobody really knows what their name is. They just see them just riding around in packs. They don't really pose a threat to anyone. It's not like they try to run people off the road or anything. They're just always racing around.
They're just like riding bikes. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. Yeah.
Aside from them, there are also some very well-known gangs that are present in Gateway. So well known, in fact, because they are kind of like international gangs. They seem to have, as ridiculous as it sounds, they seem to have chapters in almost every major city-state.
That's not that ridiculous.
Well, yeah, maybe not. But the two big ones that you know that you've seen around town trying to kind of carve out territory are the Halloweeners. The Halloweeners generally have kind of a grinning skull motif, very much like Ghost Rider, leather and spikes, just kind of hardcore like gang. Like they don't care who you are. Yeah. They don't care who you are. They're not specifically any one particular metatype. There are humans and orcs and trolls and elves and other rarer metatypes, dwarves. that make up the Halloweeners. They'll take anybody if you're tough enough and if you're mean enough. And so they've been kind of developing mostly kind of north of the area depicted on the map in what would be called Old North City, but they've been kind of sweeping south. And then also people have seen some members of the Humanus Poly Club. Not really a gang, but definitely not cool. So they are, for lack of a better reference, essentially like a white nationalist, but white human nationalist group.
Yeah.
They have been setting up chapter houses throughout the city and trying to encourage people to come in, and they give services and they pass out food to the poor and the needy, provided of course that you're human and you have the right skin color. And they welcome the right people to come in and listen to their teachings, as it were. And probably unsurprisingly, white is a very popular color for them, particularly white hoodies, and in some cases white conical hats and head coverings.
Okay, very interesting, very interesting.
When she said poly club, I thought it was going to be like a polyamorous, like sex cult. So if I'd have just gone to meet them, like, hey, I'm polyamorous too. It would have gone probably different.
Now, here's the thing, Brian, where I might be in trouble, because I said originally that my character, who is the orc, is dressed very, like, biker gang style, like, denim and leather and waistcoat and spikes and studs, like that kind of style. So I'm not going to get mistaken for one of these Halloweeners, am I?
Oh, no, not unless you're, like, grinning flaming skulls on your jacket and stuff. No.
Okay, so you can dress like, because he's dressed like a biker, like, let's say that's the kind of stereotype dressed that he is, like,
but
biker.
More like you're dressed like an unattached biker, right? Like you don't have any.
There's no big logo on the back of his jacket.
Patches, right?
No patch. That's the word, patch.
Yeah.
There's no patch. Yeah, it's just like
no patches, no symbols.
Yeah, like black leather waistcoat with studs. Though that is exactly how I'm dressed. That look. Yeah. So I guess I'll fit in here. I'll either fit in or they'll like be like, who's this prick that thinks he's trying to fit in here?
Right. Now, also to remind you, although the Humanus Poly Club is kind of popping up around the city, and the Halloweeners are there, and the Billikens are there. Again, looking at the map, the city is kind of divided, at least the main portion of the city, into the UCAS and the CAS. The UCAS is the United Canadian American States, and that is north of the border wall, right? South of the border wall is the Confederated American States. Not to be confused with the Confederation. They don't necessarily share the same historical viewpoints. But there is a split there. And because of that split, there are kind of two more really important... They're not gangs, but they kind of act like gangs that you should know about. And that is Lone Star and Knight Errant. There is no police force in Gateway. In fact, most cities don't have police forces. They hire security forces. And those security forces are essentially gangs.
And they're private firms,
Yep. And so Lone Star is in the southern portion of the CAS, the CAS, and Knight Errant patrols and holds the northern portion. And then the border wall itself, coming out from the border security complex, they're kind of near the river. They patrol the border wall north and south, and it's combined teams of Lone Star and Knight Errant. So it's always an equal number of Lone Star officers and Knight Errant knights that patrol together.
I'm just writing notes. Lone Star, they police the southern, which is the Confederate American States. Is that what
Correct.
it was? And the Knight Errant, they do the northern, which is, what was the acronym?
The United Canadian American States.
United Canadian American States. And which one's the natives?
They hold Forest Park,
They hold
so
Forest Park.
they're just called the Native American Nations.
The Native American Nations, that's what
yeah.
they're called. Yeah.
Or NAN, N-A-N.
Yeah. I'm just learning this for the first time.
Yeah. So, but in Sage, really, Billikens are the ones who hold it. Now, there are, north of the bridge and the main highway that you came on in, the old East St. Louis Barrens to the north, the Billikens are kind of pushing into that area, but that's not really currently held by anyone currently. And the Billikens are also pushing into Soulard, which is directly across the river from Sage. Yep. And Soulard is technically on the north of the border wall, so they've been getting into open battles with Knight Errant in Soulard. Soulard has kind of become a war zone, so much so that there recently have been some essentially, like, it's weird, but there's a game show that they host in the Sixth World where they basically block off several blocks of streets, and then they send groups of people in there to fight each other. And it's called different things. Sometimes they call it war zone. Sometimes they call it combat zone. It's legal. They pay permits, and they essentially, only do it in bombed out warlike areas so that nobody is really in danger of losing property that's not already in danger. But there have been several of these kind of combat game shows happening in the Soulard area lately as well, in the midst of this gang war between the Billikens and the Knight Errant.
Do you think they, like, in these game shows, do you think they drop it right in the middle of like a gang war zones, gang versus police war zones and stuff for added pressure and all that?
Oh, absolutely. Because
Yeah.
the understanding is that if you're in that zone, like, your only goal is to survive. So people who are not part of the gangs or not part of the show, they flee. Like, they run when they hear, they're given warning. Generally they send in drones that make announcements like, hey, there's going to be a war zone battle going on in, on this date, starting at this time. Get out if you don't want to be involved. So kind of think like, almost kind of like mini contained purges.
Yeah,
Really?
And I could even see it as being, from the gang side of things, as an extra rite of passage for them. So when there's one of these game shows on, like, to go on and like get a kill in one of them. Oh, I took out a TV guy. I took out one of the game show contestants. That's like one of the highest.
Well, that's what's
honours you can
interesting. The
get.
TV guys are not a thing. It's all filmed by drones. Like, none of the execs that run these things.
No,
get
by
anywhere
TV guy, I
close to
mean,
that
yeah,
area.
I took out a contestant.
Oh, like one of the other teams, like
I
contestants.
fucked up their thing. I was there with my rocket launcher and I blasted this guy and yeah. I picture
And
that.
interesting that you mentioned rocket launcher, because Gateway, being a smuggling city, there's a lot of high-end arms and weaponry and armor and stuff like that are
Cool.
out there if you know where to shop.
Cool.
A lot of smuggling comes through here. It's kind of a smuggling hub for a lot of the remaining non-Native American nations, city-states in North America. So, what do you guys want to do? Do you want to just shake down some Millikins, or
Well, I was
do you
gonna
want to
say,
try to find their hideout, find somebody in charge? What do you want?
Well, I think the plan last time was he was to drive us in and then into like a hub, and then your man, the data guy, I can't mind his name. He was gonna Sigil. He was gonna try and like hack into their intranet, and then we were gonna try and find information that way.
Sure.
So Cutter needs to really suck up to his homies and find out a little bit of intel on where he's gonna park the motor.
Yeah. I thought about what about like a nice 24-hour like fast food restaurant where they all hang out? Is there one of them?
Sure.
You know the
There's a pretty popular chain known as Stuffer Shack, which is kind of a combination of like McDonald's and more of a steak and shake, like fry grill prep kind of setup. It's not the same kind of fast food as McDonald's, but similar enough. But yeah, shakes, smash burgers, all kinds of stuff.
I've got no
all
doubt
of it,
that-
all of it, of course, highly processed. There's no real beef or anything like that. It's just nutrient paste that's turned into these hamburgers.
I've got no doubt that if we just, the three of us went in and grabbed some burgers and sat down, I've got no doubt, and if this was a place where these gang members hang out, I've got no doubt that they would come over and be like, what are you guys doing here? Because I'll be there with two humans. And then we would just be
Yeah,
like,
I was just about to say, I don't want to get out of the fucking car on this side of town, man.
Yeah, but we're dressed
So,
as whores.
as-
We're dressed as whores, though, right? So we're
You are.
semi-protected as whores.
Yeah. And driving through the district, like, you do see humans and elves. Not as many, but you do see some, because again, it is a red light district.
yeah, if
And
anybody
that
asks, I'm your
draws
pimp.
a lot of people. Both working people and paying people. So it's not like you're going to be immediately attacked if you get out of the car. Now, Sigil might be. So I think
Yeah, he's staying in the motor.
you mentioned the two of them. Is he staying in the back of the truck then? He's more than happy to, if you ask him. He's like, oh yeah, I'll hang out. I'll lay down. I'll make sure nobody can see me.
Yeah, I think the three of us go in for intel, and because they're going to talk to us anyway, they'll be like, what are you doing in here with these two humans? So we don't need to worry about how we're going to break the ice. They'll break the ice, and then we could just ask, like we're looking for somebody, we just got a job, or just what do you call us again? What's the word?
Shadowrunners.
Shadowrunners. We could just be honest with these guys, like, we're just Shadowrunners, and we could just say, look, here's $50, because obviously we
Are they gonna
respect this.
care?
Eh?
You could pay him. That could help.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say whatever
Don't get
respectable, like.
Don't get fleeced. Don't show them you've got a shitload of money, because then they'll...
No, not a shitload of money, but like just to respect that we're on their turf. I know how it works, right, with these gangs.
Yep.
Just like, I know you're on. To respect that we're on their turf. Look, here's some bucks. Have you got any information? And that's my plan, to just go in with a fairly honest kind of approach like that. If they ask what I'm
I
doing
just
with two
realized,
humans
because you
here,
guys take pretty good notes. Did we even talk about what you guys were being paid to find Miranda? Did that
it'll
come up?
be in my notes. Yeah. Hang on.
Yeah, didn't we like haggle and get more?
I thought you may have, but I don't have
A
those
little
notes.
bit,
Hang
like
on.
not a lot more, but like we got like equipment, like money or something, I think.
I haggled to get even more because she fancied me.
Oh yeah, the
That's
big
true.
You were trying to
troll
haggle
lady.
for a date with the Johnson.
Right, I have got it written down, so bear with me.
I mean, we don't need to know right now. Just, let me know when you find it. So yeah, if you're gonna roll up to a stuffer shack and go inside, it's a fairly open plan. I'm sure all of you have at some point been in some level of kind of cafeteria / fast food joint, right? Very
No, don't eat this fucking
40k,
shit.
40k
Yeah,
thousand, 40,000 yen.
Sushi and
40 is the total.
sushi, berries, fresh vegetables, none of this weird radiated chemical shit.
Yeah, we're getting 40 grand. That's what we're getting paid.
But she's been in finer restaurants, but still not a whole lot different. Maybe the light is a little bit more kind of glaring and buzzing from cheap neon. The room itself is kind of a yellowish, grimy, used to be white tile floors and tile half walls with large plate glass. You think as you walk in, probably reinforced plate glass, because you're fairly certain you see a few bullet impacts on some of the windows that didn't go through, just kind of hit and dropped and cracked but didn't break. The benches are just the just gross looking, like red pleather ripped and cracked in several places. Almost all the tables have been carved or written on, and with either permanent ink or just gouged out with knives.
What did you say the name of the place was, Brian? Sorry.
Stuffer Shack.
Stuffer Shack, that was it.
And so it's what, probably 10, 11 o'clock at night by the time you guys got over here, I think we said. So it's getting late, which is, you know, normal hours for you guys.
Yep.
And there's a young human guy standing behind the register. He's got a little kind of like peaked kind of hat on that's got the Stuffer Shack symbol on the front. His striped white and black shirt is kind of like a referee's shirt, but again, it has a Stuffer Shack patch. Looks very not clean. You can see sweat stains under his arms. And he sees you walk in. He looks up from his, phone, comm, personal device. Sees you walk in, looks back down at it.
I'll order some food then, right? Just 3 number 1s, 2 number 2s, and 3 number 3s. Whatever.
So he punches all that in as you're talking, but doesn't look up at you. He's like, "That'll be $28.50."
Give him 30 and get change, I guess. Do we even have notes these days, or is it all digital? Is there cash?
It's mostly digital. You can run with cash, but that's rare because even though money is largely digital, there are still safe ways to exchange money. So like, for example, when you guys get paid at the end of this job, you'll probably be paid with what's known as an encrypted cred stick. So it's just think of like a USB thumb drive, but it's heavily encrypted. It is valuable. Like, the money is there. It is a physical representation of the money, and you can plug it in and distribute the money to your accounts however you choose.
Well, imagine it's just like a little thing. Like these days, you have like you have it on your phone. It's just a thing you can scan up to things, and you have it on your card. You might even have a minor implant, like in your wrist or something like that. Well, I was thinking you could probably put it on anything these days, attach it to anything. So imagine to be gangster in the hood, he's probably just got attached to the butt of his gun, so he pulls out a handgun on top of the counter and goes beep. Like, instead of somebody beeps with their watch or whatever, he just goes with his gun. And this poor 17-year-old kid with braces, "Hello, my name is Marshall." It's like, ooh. Maybe
actually,
looks at me now.
If that's how you do it, if you've got it on the butt of your gun and you pull your gun out and pay, he does look up at the gun and he looks at you and just kind of quirks his eyebrow, like, really? And then he says, "I'll bring it out to you when it's ready." There's nobody else in here, so he's not going to have any difficulty figuring out where you're sitting. But he does give you like a little table tent with a number on it.
Sweet. Okay.
So,
I'll just sit and wait because I know someone's going to.
What are Null and Burn doing while Cutter's ordering food and interacting with Marshall? We'll say that is in fact his name on his name tag, Marshall.
What I'm doing is I'm shitting myself. I don't want to fucking be here. I don't think that anyone is going to be very nice to me. But I'm also in a bit of a, solace, because I know that I can just burn this motherfucking place down if I need to, because I used to work in a fast food restaurant before, and my boss shouted at me, and I know that the fryers are extremely flammable. And again, I hate fire, so I'd rather not, but I know that I can.
But if you had to, yeah.
Other than that, like, there's no one else in the restaurant, you said?
aside from you guys and Marshall, no, not currently.
So I thought I'm gonna take a shit on the floor. No, I'm not. I'm gonna go to the bathroom because I'm scared.
Okay. So you head to the bathroom. What's Null doing?
She's just looking out the window to see if anyone looks like one of the Balicans, because she knows the rough plan was to try and get Sigil near one of their bases so that he can hack them. So she's looking out the window discreetly to see if they have, like, you said, like the Halloweeners gang obviously have like markings. Do the Balicans have like a look, like a uniform?
They do. So again, it's silver and blue tends to be their thing. Oftentimes they'll paint or tattoo half of their face blue. Yeah. And some of the extreme ones will do the other half silver, or they'll just leave it open. Because a lot of orcs' skin tones move towards like a darker kind of grayish silver sometimes. They're not the green orcs that you tend to think of. It's more just, you know, darker tones, more muddy skin tones, and then, you know, the fangs and the ears and everything. Not fangs, tusks. Speaking of which, does Cutter do anything special with his tusks, or does he just let him go?
No, well, what can you do? Can you like?
Well, I don't know. Do they have like
keep
gold
them short and shit?
bands around them?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I would say if he had more money, he would have like a full gold cap over one, but he doesn't. So he's got a gold ring on one side. Let's say that. Yeah. So one of them, he's got a gold ring around it.
Okay. But he doesn't file them down or anything. He's
Nah. I would say he lets them grow like to full length. Yeah. But he's got let's say he's got a gold ring on one of them. He's not got enough wealth to have like gold, full on golds, but
full grills, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's down the line.
Yeah.
So as Null looks over her shoulder,
when you've got big, cool teeth, like.
Right. As Null looks over her shoulder outside, you can see some shapes moving around Cutter's truck. And does Null have any kind of vision improving cyber?
I think she has something, but I think it's more about dark vision. I don't think she's got the headset for the talking, but I think she's got. Let me check. Inventory. She's got.
Oh yeah, you've got low light vision. So yeah, you can. Yeah. You can see outside. A lot of the street lights in the parking lot are busted. Like it's just dark out there, and with the hazy kind of spidery cracked plate windows, it makes it a little bit more difficult to see. But yeah, because you have low light vision, the shapes definitely resolve into like it looks like some hefty people out there. You're guessing probably orcs, and they do kind of a once around the vehicle. Maybe looking for tags, like gang tags, which they often will tag their vehicles as well.
The orcs have really good smell in this game, because I'm worried they might smell a fucking elf. I don't know if like Sigil might know that to make himself washing. I don't know.
They're not getting too close to it, so you don't get the feeling that they're looking to steal it or anything. They're just looking at it, just giving it a once around. Orcs do not have specifically a good sense of smell in this game. They do have low light vision, though, much like elves do, and of course cyberware. He has, Cutter that essentially has as good a vision as you do in the dark, but for him it's just natural. So yeah, no special smell. They're not going to scent Sigil or anything. Otherwise, he would have. Sigil is smart enough. He probably would have been like, "We need to get some incense or some crazy smelling stuff back here to help mask me." So at any rate, they walk around it, and then they start heading for the front door. As Byrne heads into the bathroom, you open the door. It is just a bathroom. They don't really separate between male and female anymore. It's all stalls, no urinals, to give people some semblance of privacy. But as you look at the stalls, you notice that all the doors are just either gone or just kind of hanging, like they won't close well unless you like lift it up yourself and try to latch it. And then it's precarious at best. You can even tell that a couple of the stalls, as you kind of walk in and glance over them, have holes in the walls between them. And there's not those kind of holes. Funny, but not those kind of holes. Just seriously, like bashed in holes.
Good old glory hole, eh?
But you do, as you are kind of checking out the stalls, maybe looking for a place to unload, you do hear someone crying. And it sounds like they're in the last stall.
Does it sound like an orc crying or like a human crying?
Orcs don't cry, what are you talking about?
Well, an orc would say that.
Yeah, that's true.
Crying sounds like crying. It doesn't sound like there's any kind of weird quality to it.
So I like quickly just grab some toilet paper and like, you know, hand it on there and be like, I ain't an emotional kind of guy, but you know, use this. Hopefully it'll help. And I sit on the toilet beside.
And you see, well, you don't really see because they do it pretty quick, but someone snatches the tissue from you. And you just hear a thanks. Kind of a higher pitched voice. If you had to guess, you would think feminine on some level, but you know, difficult to be sure. You can't see the person.
You don't happen to be a troll, are you?
He's got a type, what can I say?
No, I'm not a troll.
Oh, that's good, because the last time I was in the bathroom with a troll, whew, that's a story, but maybe I'll tell you that another time. So, everything okay? I don't see anyone else in here, and it's a bit weird that you're crying in a public bathroom. This is the best place that I've ever done therapy.
The voice is just like, I'm fine. Marshall's just a dick.
Yeah, you're right. Marshall is a dick. Tell me more.
So she goes on to tell you about how the assistant manager, Marshall, has been riding her really hard, just being generally mean. She begged for the day off, but he wouldn't give it to her because she's in a bad way. She's in a lot of pain in her abdomen. You know, just a sob story.
Yeah, I get that. And what's your name?
Sherry.
Well, Sherry, I'm glad to tell you that I'm from head office, and you can go home.
Really?
Yeah. And in fact, Marshall's going to be fired, and don't even worry about coming in for the rest of the week.
I can have the week off?
You can have the whole week off.
And tell you what, why don't you make a talk roll for me? If you don't have talk, then you just need to roll untrained.
You're a terrorist, Chris. He's gonna lose some poor girl her job.
Yeah, he's like, she'll go home, come back, and they'll be like, yeah, you've been fired for a week. And she'd be like, no.
Talk. What would it be under, sorry?
So it'd be your skills there, and underneath attributes, you've got skills.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it looks like you don't have talk, so you're just gonna roll untrained. just click the roll button for that.
Oh, roll, just roll.
No modifier. You can add your charisma to it. So just click the little dot next to charisma and then hit roll. There you go. All right. So 6 isn't awful. She stops crying for a minute, sniffling, and then she's like, "Well, I can tell you're not from head office, because head office never comes down here, but you made me laugh a little bit, so thank you. I think I'm ready to go back out and face him."
Well, I can definitely help you get him fired if you want.
She's like, "No, he's probably be replaced with somebody worse. He's just a kid." And she steps out, and I don't know if you are outside of the stall or if you're sitting in the stall next to her.
I was just sat in the stall, but if I seen her come out to converse, I probably would have walked out.
You hear the door kind of wiggle as she tries to unlatch it, and then she steps out. Your stall doesn't even have a door on it. It like fell off. It's on the ground. So like you can see her when she steps out. This is another large woman. She's tall. She's not quite as tall as a troll, but she's taller than you. She's probably a good 6'8". And she looks to be similar to an orc. Similar kind of build. Maybe a little bit thinner than a female orc might be. But she's covered in kind of like a downy fur. And she has slightly kind of lupine features, wolf-like features. She's rare, but you've heard of a metatype referred to as a gnoll before. So she is a rare one, and she's wearing the same outfit. She doesn't have the hat on, but she's got, the black and white striped shirt. Hers looks clean. She is filling it out fairly nicely. And she's got some tight, like, what do they make that material, like rayon, kind of cheap stuff that they make like fast food.
Ryan, you just created a whole new fetish for Chris. Oh, he likes big mutant women.
She does have. I forget what they're referred to as. I don't know. I don't think they're called retrograde specifically. There's a name for it, but she does have kind of like the lupine legs that kind of like a dog kind of bend backwards a little bit. Yeah. And you can see that with the pants, but she's also wearing shoes, so she must not have like massive like weird paw things. She's got feet. It's just that the biology of her legs are a little bit different. And you do see a tail.
Okay, so noticing that she's a big wolfy one, I'm like, woohoo! Wouldn't want to see you in the pale moonlight. So, just let me know if Big Marsh, you want to get him fired, because I'm pretty good at that. And I put a e-cigarette. I don't know in this dystopia if they're gonna have cigarettes. But
they do. You can do whatever you want. But you're afraid of fire, so I can't imagine you lighting a real cigarette.
Yeah,
I pick my thumb and light it and go, oh! And drop the cigarette onto my crotch, trying to be cool.
And her eyes widen a little bit. She's like, oh, yeah. Do you do close-up magic? Are you a magician? And you know that she's like magician, like that kind of magician. There's a little bit of distaste in her voice.
I'm just reminding myself right now. I was just gonna see if there was any like spells that I actually knew that would freak her the fuck out. but I can only heal her, so that's not.
Yeah, you're a combat mage, so like any of your spells are either going to be helpful or they're going to be very painful.
Hurtful.
But let's see. What do you have?
I tell you, I think I can give. Is this a spell? I don't know if this is a spell. Apply train speed to. Oh no, this is to myself. Oh, I was gonna try and. I was trying to use exert, but give it to her so that she could finish her shift faster.
So that's funny. I will say that I like the idea of using like minor magics, kind of like a prestidigitation kind of deal. So based on the spells that you have prepared, without actually casting the spell, you can do minor effects with it. So like because you have arson prepared, you can make little sparks of flame that they're not dangerous, but maybe they can light a cigarette. Because you have heal injury prepared, maybe you can touch someone and give them like a rush of vitality and help them feel better. If only, for a few moments, it's nice, right? It's like a good feeling. Paralysis, you might be able to touch someone and have them kind of lock up for a moment and feel like that fear of losing control of your body. Again, no game effects, just minor things you can do based off of the spell you have prepared.
Yeah. So, for example, like, just in this situation, I could be like, oh, I'm much more than a magician, baby. And I touch her on the snout, and I was like, I can control your mind. I can change everything that I want and make it in my favor. But I ain't that kind of guy. And just in that moment, I applied paralysis so that she couldn't walk away or do anything. So
stop you from touching her nose. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so you definitely see her eyes widen and like her amber irises kind of dilate as she's looking at you. And as soon as she can move again, she tries to like, I'm sorry, and she tries to push past you. Because magic itself is not unheard of. It's just rare. It's about as rare as she is.
Yeah, don't be frightened. Like I said, let me know. You want Marshall to get fired? I'm your guy.
You are an absolute Casanova, Chris. I've got to give it to you.
Sound pretty rapey to me. That was like rape magic.
Well, I was gonna say, Martin, he took away our ability to consent for a second. Yeah, you just fucking stay there.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
Whatever.
I didn't have any other spells that I could use that would do anything else.
I cast
to
remove
a person.
consent.
Ow. So, she kind of rushes out of the bathroom. She does take a moment to wash her hands, but quickly, like not well, and doesn't even dry them. Not that there's any, paper towels in the paper towel dispenser.
She runs out the bathroom and gets on her phone to her friend with her hand shaking.
Well, no, as soon as the door to the bathroom closes, maybe not as soon as, long enough for her to like step out of the little hallway that the bathroom is down, you can hear a voice out there going, "Get back to work, Sherry. Get back in the kitchen."
Oh, it's Marshall the dick.
Oh yeah, like, and you guys out there, like, Marshall says that you see this gnoll, female gnoll, come out from the bathroom area, kind of rushed, looking over her shoulder, kind of scared, and then Marshall yells at her to get back in the kitchen.
And this is a human kid talking to an old woman like that. He's not gonna last long in the hood doing that. Like, some hood guy's gonna hear that and shoot him. You need to be careful, like.
Maybe.
So
it depends. So it is important for you all to know that
I don't think I would be happy. I don't think Byrne would be very happy with hearing the way that Marshall's speaking to her. Hearing from her that she said that, but let alone actually physically seeing and hearing it, I don't think he would be very happy. So Burn's now going to approach Marshall. And
hang on, as Burn comes out of the bathroom and starts heading towards Marshall, maybe with a purpose, right? At the same time, Null has clearly seen that these figures that are walking around the truck outside are coming, and they come in through the door, and they are 3 large, muscular-looking orcs with some kind of obvious cyber. You're not sure if they if it's cosmetic or if it has a purpose, because cosmetic cyber is a thing. Like, sometimes people just do it to make them look a certain way, often because it's cheaper than actually functional cyber. But you see these 3 big orcs come in, and they look, obviously there's variations between them, but they look like this, kinda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fuck, I'm getting right
Blue
close
and
to...
silver.
I'm getting right next to Connor and looking super whorish. Like,
looking super whorish. I like it, Martin.
yeah. So they know what's going on between us.
Yeah. I love that. That's
And
cool.
as they walk in, the one in the lead just kind of looks at the 2 of you, Null and Cutter, takes you in, doesn't seem to respond. Maybe he's instantly falling for your gambit of, worker and overseer, as it were.
Pimp. Don't like the word overseer. Pimp.
Pimp. Okay, that's fair. But he looks over at Marshall, pretty much like almost after Marshall has yelled this order at Sherry. He says, "Marsh, how's your pops?" And that's what Burn comes out of the bathroom into, seeing these 3 kind of hulking-looking orcs.
Burn doesn't see them. Burn is laser focused on this guy. He is enraged. He is like proper, like, I mean, this is everything that he hated from his old job. This is like why he gave everything up. This is why he does what he does today. And this is why he lives an like underprivileged, real retro lifestyle. Because fuck the system, man. And he's going to go forward, and he's not going to use any magic. He's just going to throw a flying punch straight into the side, soccer punching Marshall as hard as he possibly can.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I love it. See how animated Chris is there.
So you're initiating combat. We're going to give you that attack for free, and then we'll roll some initiative.
This is where we die. Where I die. You guys maybe be all right.
I'm going back to the truck. I've got a friend. I'm okay.
Okay, so you should have, you have an unarmed attack under your attacks. You can roll for that.
Okay.
Just click on the attack button,
Barton,
and it'll roll it for you.
Human.
Oh. Oops. That one.
I'm gonna see him doing this, and they just assume there must be some troll woman somewhere.
Okay,
roll
so
9 damage.
9.
2.
Let's take a look. Oh, it's Marshall. Sorry, I'm looking at the ganger. You're attacking Marshall. So yeah, you just kind of are you literally like bodily leaping over the counter with this punch to like right into the floor and
proper Superman punch. Like I have leaped forward, fist forward, 0 defense, 0 anything. Because it's not, it's not like I'm not a fighter. Like I don't know how to fight, so I'm just throwing what I think's the hardest punch that I possibly can to the side of this guy's face.
Okay.
I kind of hope Marshall beats you back up, like, or his big fucking dad's gonna come and beat you up.
So, let's go. So far, only a punch has been thrown, right? Which is not necessarily the worst outcome.
It's not much in the hood, is it?
But we're still gonna get into some issues here. So let me pull you guys onto the table.
Loving the artwork, the style of everything so far. Everything's super cool.
Silly me not having a token and a character sheet for Marshall, but it's fine. He's largely impotent anyway, so
we know he's got braces and acne and proper, you know, he's
massive milk bottle glasses, greasy hair.
I'm the one person in the entire history of this game ever to attack Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall's not supposed to be attacked.
Okay,
so minus 100. He's asthmatic.
I love it. Yeah. So we're gonna need to make a roll. So I think Null has the highest agility or dexterity bonus, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so. My
Dex plus
dexterity.
1 for Null.
Let me check. Dexterity. Yeah, plus 1.
All right, and Cutter and
Dex is
Burn
0
or under that, I think.
Yeah, plus 0.
Cutter 0
says 12,
which is plus 0. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So it's Null who gets to roll initiative. So let me roll that for you guys.
Pow.
6, and the gangers. 7 total. They get a 6. All right. Cool. Okay, so, oh no, they beat you? Is that what happened there? Yeah, they did. They got a 7. All right. So one of the gangers. Yeah, we're gonna say that one. Leaps over the counter. Separate you guys out a little bit. Have Cutter and Null kind of over here. Leaps over the counter and grabs Burn by the back. No. Does Burn have like a coat or something? Trench coat? Yeah.
Yeah, typical Matrix style kind of trench livery coat.
Typical edgelord, yes, Chris, we know.
Yeah.
So you feel this hand grab you by the back of your trench coat, and with very little effort, pull you up off of Marshall, and then fling you into the wall behind you. Or rather, I guess I'll be fair. That's what he attempts to do. Let me make a roll with his best attack. Don't worry about the damage that you see here. He's not actually going to be rolling damage for that, but yeah, so
Is that your way of saying don't fuck with this guy because he's gonna fuck
you up?
No,
not at all. Not at all. I mean, you guys are, Shadowrunners. You got stuff. So 14. Does that hit Burn? It
AC is it?
It hits your melee AC, which is what this is.
Yeah.
So yeah, he grabs you by the back of your jacket and pulls you up off of Marshall and just kind of throws you back into the wall. No real damage. He's just separating the two of you. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? At the same time as he does that, he kind of picks you up with his left hand and throws you back. And you probably don't see it because you were incensed and it's probably still focused on Marshall. But Cutter and Null see a 3-foot-long spike emerge from this guy's other hand, from his right hand. He clearly has cybernetics installed. He's got body blades, exactly.
Same as me.
Which Cutter is familiar with, yeah. And then the other two, one draws a gun and holds it at Burn, doesn't fire. And the other one kind of steps up with the first one and stands also in between you and the guy, and you can see that as he clenches his fists, they're crackling with energy. So he's got some kind of energy-based shock fist thing going on.
You're getting fisted.
So that's their turn. What are you guys gonna do?
Watch
You
and
can
laugh
act
as
in
this
any
idiot
order.
gets beaten up by gangsters in the hood. Like, what are you doing, you fucking idiot? I'll be like, don't know him, boys. What am I supposed to do, you idiot? What are we supposed to do here, Martin? We're supposed to stick up for him. He's gonna get his ass kicked.
That means you've lost your full cover. They'll not trust you.
They're definitely not trust me if I stick up for him here, will they?
I mean, we might just have to like pretend we're like customers and something. I was thinking maybe we could just like make up a lie.
Here's the thing, Chris. I
Make a
cannot
lie.
stick up for you here, mate. You're
Can I give you some cyberpunk knowledge?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so these guys, as everyone, except for Burn, as we established, because Burn is an interesting character. Almost everyone has like phone, PDA, comlink. In Shadowrun, they're called comlinks, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a handheld device that handles transactions, basic apps and stuff, just like our smartphones. Maybe a little bit more advanced than that, right? So each of them is going to have one, and part of what you or probably Sigil would be able to do with any of their their comlinks is track their movements. So Null definitely would know, because Null has probably done this herself a few times, even if she's not quite as skilled as Sigil, that if you get your hands on one of their comlinks, you can probably track them to their lair, to their hideout.
Well, I've got a plan now. I've got a plan, but Chris ain't gonna like it, but he deserves it.
Okay, so what are you guys gonna do?
To me, Martin.
I'm just gonna say, on the record, totally on the record, this has all happened because Burn decided to defend the lady.
Yeah, we understand that.
Yeah, we understand your fetish for these tall, crossbreed race women. It's cool.
Thick women. You like a thick woman.
Me and Martin and Brian support your new thing, Chris. It's fine, mate. We're your friends. Don't worry. You're safe here.
So why don't we start with Burn while Null and Cutter are just kind of still reacting to this. You just got pulled off of Martin. How angry are you still? You've not lost your mind. You might be angry, but like you see these orcs in between you and Martin or Marshall now.
Yeah. Now that I've been like hoisted off and like grabbed and put against the wall,
I'm just like, bro, chill.
I'm just like, oh, dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean any disrespect, but that guy, the way that he spoke to that woman, it just drove me crazy, and I just couldn't do anything. I had to stick up for her. Look, I don't want any trouble, and like, I know who you guys are. I know that you're really gonna hurt me. So, is there any way that we can resolve this without having to fight?
So, give me again. You're untrained, so roll untrained since you don't have talk.
Can't hear anything. Can't talk to anyone.
Hey,
6.
that's a 6.
So
it looked a lot better than a 6.
It's because it's -1.
Well, it's -1, yeah.
Oh.
And I'm guessing you don't. Well, did you add a? Oh yeah, you don't have any charisma, so that wouldn't have mattered. All right, so
no charisma.
Well, no charisma bonus. He doesn't have
like
charisma.
Does anyone in this group remember when it was about just read your sheet? It's really simple. Do you remember that from yesterday?
I am playing this character.
No, I know. We love
play
it.
this character.
Yeah, we love it.
Okay, so with a 6, you make the one who kind of took the lead, who pulled you off. I mean, you may not realize this because you were mad at the time, but the one who pulled you off of Marshall, he stops for a second. He's still got one of his blades out, and you can see the other one pop out as well now with the hand that he used to pull you off Marshall. And he says, "What woman?"
the one over there, the I can't remember the race. She's,
No.
Noel Gallagher.
Goll.
Um,
So he looks, and from his sight line behind the counter, you would guess that he can see Sherry.
Yeah.
And he turns and he looks down at Marshall, and he's like, "You've been treating her bad?" And you can tell that he's getting angry. Okay, so what do Null and Cutter want to do? Either order, up to you guys.
My plan was basically to say, it's his first time on the job. He'll end the deal and give you guys some fun. He'll go back to your place, because then we could track him. Chris might get absolutely destroyed, but I mean, we will then find where the base is, and we won't get in trouble.
You can do that, but it's your go. I'll give you a chance to say what you want to say.
You really think that the Bollywogs want to shag me?
Billikens.
Or Balligans, not Bell.
Bollywogs. That's great.
They can roleplay whatever they want. If they want to be bullywogs, fucking you, that's fine. No, I'll ask Cutter what he thinks, because I think we need to track them, and this is a pretty easy deal if we can get them to go back to their base.
Yeah,
you can just fucking hack their phone.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be in. I don't know if they're going to. I don't know if Burn is going to be their type. Basically, is what I'm thinking. Don't know if Burn's going to be their type enough that that's going to be tempting enough for them. Sadly, I think if you can get into one of them's phone, I mean, we've established that this is definitely a place where they hang about. We found the gang. If you could just get a tap on one of them's phone, we could maybe follow them to somewhere that.
But I can't do that. Only Sigil can do that, and he's obviously outside.
But he'd have to have the phone.
But yeah, so unless
or you'd have to communicate to him so that he knows what to do.
Are they close enough to the restaurant that I can use my comms thing to tell him?
Absolutely, yep.
But would he have to get out of the van to do it? Because I don't want him to get attacked.
You don't think so?
No, we're close enough now, I think.
Okay, well, I'll do my comms thing and tell him if he can hack one of their phones or put a tracer on it.
So
meanwhile, can I just spend the time looking at these guys and studying them? What level armor they wear, what weaponry they have, sidearms, and just I want to study them, how kitted out, how well trained they look to be, what physique they have, and what kind of trained level of gangster they are. If they're just thugs or if they're really elite soldiers or whatever.
So, why don't you give me a notice check with wisdom? Sigil is able to communicate back with you pretty quickly. He's like, where are they in relation to you? He's asking you for a physical location, because he's like, there's a lot of phones in there.
Okay. I don't know. I guess because I would have done this 2 times, I'd be good at giving him feet and inches and whatever.
This many feet or meters in this direction, north, south, east, west, right?
Point at the window, so yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No,
he says, let me try. All right. So what did Oliver get?
A 9.
A 9. Okay. And I will make a roll for Sigil to hack.
I mean, remind me, did we think that this elf brother and sister, did we think that they are, they know that these guys are going to know something about where they are and that we need to just talk to these guys? Because maybe we don't need to follow them to an HQ, maybe we just need to have a conversation with them here. Is that a plan
maybe
with these guys?
That would be extremely unlikely that these 3 random gangers would know specifically where they are. Extremely lazy of your GM as well.
So we need to find their base to hack their system. That's the next bit, I think.
Just to get into gang inside information, because they're going to be talking about it within their network, I suppose. Well, Sigil's rolled a beauty.
So, Sigil quickly texts you back, and obviously you have this very simple readout, or maybe it's voice to speech since you don't have a visual readout, but nobody else is aware of your communication with Sigil, and he says, "I've got a lock on one of them."
Yay!
Nice.
Okay, so Cutter. These guys they're tough, but you don't think they're too tough. Your guess would be that they are less experienced than you are, but they are equipped. They're all wearing street leathers, which is going to give them a certain level of protection in terms of armor class. Not super high, right? They're not wearing... You don't think any of them have any, like, plated armor or anything on.
Which is the level I have.
Like
I'm an AC 18. I'm quite...
Right.
Yeah.
So it's quite a bit less than yours. But yeah, you know that two of them have combat cybernetics. I'll say with that 9 that you rolled 2, you can also see the one that's pulled the gun and is aiming it at you and Null. You can see on his hand telltale indications that he has some kind of a gun link system, which is going to help with his aiming and firing firearms.
Okay, so that's the cybernetics that tunes to your gun and makes sure.
Exactly. It's like aim assist.
Aim assist for your hand. Yeah. Okay. But I wouldn't fear the 3 of them. Me versus the 3 of them would be a fair fight, eh?
You versus the 3 of them would be... You think you could probably take all 3. You might take a couple of hits, but you think you could take all 3 of them.
It'd be a good scrap. I don't feel... I'm not
it'd
scared
be a
of
good
these
scrap.
guys. Yeah. But so I'm not scared of this guy pointing a gun at me, really, is what I'm getting at. It's not it's not a dilemma for me. I'm just going to be quite casual with him. I'm going to, like, show respect, like, sit back, not put my hands up, but my hands will be where everybody can see them. I'll still be eating my burger, though, right? Like, my hands will not go below below the counter of the table.
Well, unfortunately, you haven't gotten your food yet, since the cook just came out of the bathroom.
Yeah, okay. I'll keep my hands, like, above the table, but I'm not going to be, like...
Okay.
Like this,
So, if you're not going to act, then, we'll move into the next round. The first one, the one with the gun keeps his gun trained on Cutter and Null. The one with the kind of crackling fists is just standing there, kind of backing up the first one, and the one with the body blades lets the blades go back into their sheaths in his forearm, and he picks Marshall up, not gently, by the front of his uniform, stands him on his feet, is not, lifting him in the air, just stands him on his feet, and says, "You want me to tell your pops that you're messing with other metatypes at work, boy?" So, what are you guys doing?
Just watching.
Marshall is just kind of sputtering, like, she wouldn't, she wasn't following instructions, and I'm the assistant manager. And he's like, "You're the assistant manager because your pop says you are. You don't own this place, and you're not an orc."
Yeah, Marshall, you dirty dweeb.
And so that orc points at you behind him without looking at you, like, "Don't."
Well, you're gonna get in trouble, bud. Come on, you nearly had them on side. Don't ruin it now.
And he doesn't have any tech, so I can't tell him that we've got a traitor on the phone, right? Because he's not charismatic.
Burns got nothing. No,
he can't hit shit. He can't. He's not charismatic. He can do rape magic, and yeah, I can't communicate with him. Yeah.
I mean, you can shoot him a look. You can.
I mean,
give him like a hand signal, like stuff.
Does he have good insight? Would he understand a simple method?
Oh, I would think you all have worked together before. If you wanted to be able to
have some
quickly,
codes, some hand signals,
give each other a signal.
Okay, I'll give him.
You would know.
Okay,
he is very intelligent. Yeah.
We just give him stop your fucking wanker.
Yeah, I'll tell him to chill out immediately.
But I'm intelligent, but I'm not wise. So maybe if you wrote it on a bit of paper, I could read it. But...
Okay, I'll write it in ancient Latin, and then you'll probably understand it. There you go.
You know it. You know it.
So yeah, if you all don't interfere, then he, motions to Sherry and tells her to come forward, and he's very gentle with her, and your guess would be because her metatype is also what's considered to be, there's essentially two classes of metatypes. There's elves and dwarves and like kind of fae, like fancy, like high class metatypes, and then there's the low class goblinoid metatypes, and hers metatype is definitely closer to an orc or a troll than a dwarf or an elf, right?
Yeah, so she looks more like a wolf than like for example, if she looked like a what was he call those French poodle? If it was more like a poodle mutation, then maybe people would like
if she looked more like a fairy, essentially.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right, like a sexy human with pointy ears, then and maybe slightly different skin color, like bluish or greenish, then she'd probably be more accepted. But yeah, she looks like a wolf person, and that's terrifying to a lot of people. Not to Byrne, obviously. Byrne's got his types. But
I never said that Byrne was attractive.
No, I know.
And her people is like the cousin of my people as well. To cut her, she's one of the people. She's one of my people. Like,
yeah,
I'm in the minority.
Yeah, she's definitely closer to you than Sigil is, right? That's not to say that there aren't orcs that don't like gnolls or other goblinoid races. Like that can happen because people are just people. They're not a monolith. But yeah, generally gnolls are not well respected in society about the same way that trolls aren't and orcs aren't, unless they earn their respect, right? So at any rate, she comes over. He's very gentle with her. She explains to him how she needed a couple of days off. It's that time of the month and she's got a lot of pain and it's hard. And he's like, go home. And he, after she walks past, he shoves Marshall into the kitchen. He's like, you're cooking for the rest of the night, boy. And he basically steps behind the counter and pulls up like a stool and takes a seat. And the other two guys just kind of find a seat in the restaurant. And he looks at you. He looks at Byrne first. And he's like, you're lucky. But you can tell there's a bit of respect there too, because you stood up for somebody who's not your kind, right? Maybe he doesn't like you, but he certainly respects you more than Marshall right now.
He stood up for the minority against the human, so...
Right. And, he maybe thinks that Null and Cutter are together or something like that. He's like, your food will be out soon. I'll make sure he doesn't spit in it.
I'll give him like a gesture, like a nod and a thanks as well.
And so, with getting off the hook, I am gonna make my way out of here now, back to the car, because
he's just gonna go sit in the
anyone else.
Don't fucking go to our car. You ain't going to our car. Go to someone else's car.
They don't know. All right. Well, I'm gonna stand outside with a pair of keys, just looking at a car, going, not this one.
They don't seem to be like tracking where you're going. They seem to have lost interest in you.
Love it. You're not that interesting. They don't care about you. Okay, no one's looking at you.
No one's looking for.
I would say with your intelligence, you might be thinking it might be better to just hang out here.
Yeah.
Rather than go outside and let some other random group stumble upon you and take issue with you. You know, at least you know the orcs inside right now are cool with you for now.
Yeah.
But it's up to you. If you want to go outside, you certainly can.
I'm going nowhere till I find my number 2 and my number 3.
So
you guys didn't order me food, so
I did.
You guys were here on your own. You told the gang that I was nothing to do with you. So right, I know what side of my bread is buttered.
Well, that's true. I did say that, so you might have to order your own food,
yep.
and me and Null will just share the other food that I ordered. Actually, that's a good point.
So
sorry.
And it's all brought out in it's all brought out in to-go containers. So if you really wanted to take something back to the car for Burn to munch on or Sigil to munch on, you can, right? You can save some of it. But so the main guy with the body blades, he, after 5-10 minutes or so, maybe longer than you would expect. Sorry, something just crawled down my throat. Maybe longer than you'd expect because Marshall's not good on the grill. But your food comes out. The orc who was tending the register, he actually brings it out to you. And he sets it down. And he says, "Don't worry, I made sure there's nothing wrong with it. It might not look good, but it should taste all right."
I'll look up it and go, "No, it looks good, brother. It looks good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
He pats you on the shoulder.
Take it.
It's like, "I appreciate you understanding. I'm sorry y'all had to see that."
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. We know where we are. And I give him a nod, and I take a big, grateful bite of the burger. And
yeah, I mean, it tastes like shit, but it'll fill you up.
Yeah, I'll look at him like...
Food from Stuffer Shack always tastes like shit, but you know that.
It's what you expect. It's like McDonald's. It's shitty, but it's great shitty. It's just the right, just that kind of shitty you expect it to be in it, then that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then he
I love fast food.
He doesn't say anything to Burn if you're still inside, like sitting in a booth by yourself or something like that. He does bring you though a drink, and it's like a beer, and he puts it down in front of you. He's like, "This is all we got here, but it looked like you didn't order anything. I figured I could at least give you a beer."
Is it Marshall doing the service here, or
it's the orc. Marshall's in the kitchen.
Okay, yeah, I thought that. I was like, why is he giving me a beer? All right, so is it a screw top, or is it in a glass, or?
Oh no, it's like a big German sized mug.
Like Stein.
Oh nice.
Yeah.
And are they drinking as well?
No, he's not. Because after he drops that off, you all notice he goes over to the booth that the other two orcs are sitting in, and you can hear him. He's not trying to cover it up or anything. He's like, "I'm going to have to tend the counter until the morning shift comes in, so y'all better head back to base."
And which one? The one who's tending the counter, that's not the one I put the trace on, is it? Oh, for fuck's sake. Just pimp one of us out, it would have been a lot easier.
So we get the impression that this guy might actually, although he might actually even work here or know the owners and have done this before.
Guys, do you think
I would say
that we would have tracers in the van? Like, could we not just tell who'd to put a tracer on their vehicle? Because they wouldn't have came here just on a bike or something. Even if they did, you could put the tracer on the bike, no?
Yeah, you can trace a bike.
I don't know. I've not got tracers. I can...
Yeah, I mean, that would be a specific item. If you wanted to, being that this is a one-shot, right? If you wanted to say that you had purchased some, small little tracers or bugs, and you have the cash.
That's why we caught the tech guy in. You know what I mean? That's his job. That's why he's getting 25%.
Well, he's more of a hacker. He's not like an infiltrator.
He's done the phone for us, but we have to hope.
Yeah,
it's
he
not
did the
one
phone.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, if you wanted to say that you just bought some or just had some on hand, let me look at the gear real quick. There's got to be a portable. Yeah, so there are little kind of like ultralight tabs. Think of like an AirPod or something like that. I think that's what they're called, right? The little things that let you track
AirTags.
Things. Yeah, AirTags, right? It's kind of like that. So those are, I don't know if you have the new yen for it, but those are generally about 500 a pop. So if any, I don't know if anybody has the money to have said, oh yeah, I had a couple of those.
I can afford that. Someone wants that. Yeah, we can afford that.
Yeah, if you want to. Just take 500 off your total, and we'll say that you've got one. The question is, how are you going to get it out there on one of their rides?
You could just slip it into one of their pockets.
Does one of them have a bike or
you could potentially with some. So, in these games, there's not like a sleight of hand or a pickpocket skill. Instead, all of that falls under stealth.
So I can do it because I'm really good. I'm really good at it.
Right,
I have sneak as a skill as well.
If I remember correctly, I think Null is actually like really good at it.
Probably really better than me. Yeah.
Yeah, I am without a doubt.
Try and get a trace on them by putting something in one of their pockets, then maybe, or sticking something in one of their vehicles. No.
Yeah, but which one do you prefer, the vehicle or on them?
Oh yeah, Null's a specialist in sneak.
Yeah, right on them if you can. Yeah, you might as well, because their vehicle's going to park outside the base, whereas they're going to go into it. So yeah, right on them.
They're going to go into it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna like not go to the one who's working the counter, but one of the other two. I'm gonna see if I can. I don't know. I guess maybe you have to bring your own trays back. Maybe when Cudder's finished eating, I'll go in, take the trash to wherever it goes, and then pass them and see, you know.
Well, they're actually going to have to pass you on the way out.
Oh, okay.
So if you wanted to just kind of deftly like drop it in one of their pockets as they walk by.
Yeah, I'll just do that. Makes it easier.
Okay.
So I just
go ahead.
Stealth.
Yep. So you should just be able to roll stealth. You're going to add your dex bonus.
Okay.
And then roll it, and what it should do, because you have specialists, and I should have you set up correctly, is it should roll 3 dice and take the best 2.
Okay, let me look. So, intelligence. Is it sneak? So I rolled the sneak.
Yeah, sneak.
One.
Sorry, not stealth.
It's not stealthy yet. So roll that, but then okay, let me just see what happens. So I roll it, and then
click
I add
on the dex button.
Oh, okay, yeah. The dex one, and then I should just then roll it.
And then just hit the check mark.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's really good. So, as they walk by, up to you whether it's the first one or the second one, but you're able to just very quickly just kind of maybe stretch, or I don't know, drop the tag into one of their pockets.
I'll do it on the second. I'll do it on the second one on the off chance that the other one sees me do it.
Okay. And yeah, so you've got a tag on them, just in case.
And it's non-traceable, right?
It's non-traceable. Yeah.
It's not like it's gonna they can
show up to
hack
you.
It and then, because I ain't doing that. I'm gonna put one of your names on it.
It's not back traceable unless they have a really, really, really good hacker.
And I didn't pay for it, so technically Cutter has probably got your details on it.
Yeah, so hang on, let me take some money off my sheet then if I'm paying for it.
Yep, yeah. And it's going to be connected to Cutter's comm.
Yeah, okay.
So I just then.
Right, okay. At some point
now I should also point out, it is a bit of a... it is kind of like a high-tech, like, infiltration kind of device, so the one that you would buy has the ability from your phone. You can send it a kill command to where it will essentially short and burn out, right?
I got way more excited than that.
Oh yeah, no,
not
that kind of kill the carrier.
You were looking for
I thought it was like
kill.
Fucking,
no, that kind of kill.
Yeah,
a boom boom
It's
kill.
a bomb.
Brian, can we now or soon get a wee 5-minute halftime break?
Yeah, I think this would be a good time. So you've got the tag on the guy, you've got potentially a tag on one of their phones through Sigil. And yeah, unless there's anything else you want to do here when we come back, it's perfect time to take a break.
Sweet, thank you. Let's do that.
Okay.
And we're back.
All right, so finishing up your meal at the Stuffer Shack. What do you do now?
Well, hopefully Null got a lead on them so we can just sit in the car for a little bit and kind of see where they go.
Well, it'd be on your phone, so you could
it's on my
you could
phone,
hang out
yeah.
at the Stuffer Shack. You could go out and cruise for a bit if you wanted to.
Shall we just go check out the neighbourhood a little bit, actually? Is that... I think that's wise. Just drive around.
Yeah,
I mean, there's plenty of other vehicles on the street at this time of night, so...
Yeah. Instead of just sitting in one place while we're finished eating, because that might look a bit more suspect, let's just get in the car and drive around town a little bit while we wait to see where they settle. So we're not following them, we're just waiting.
Right.
But
so as you leave, the orc behind the counter, gives you the thanks for eating at Stuffer Shack, come again. Like, you definitely know he's worked here before. Like, he may not be doing it now, but yeah. And before we went to break, I was going to tell Cutter would probably recognize some of the interplay there. Like, obviously, the orc was forgiving of Burn because here's a human who stood up for, like you said, a minority in the face of another human, right? So that gets you some respect. And at least explains, the diving over the counter Superman style to punch this guy. But Cutter would also, I think, additionally know, just from interacting with people in society, and Null and Burn would know this, but you might not have been thinking about it necessarily in this way. But one thing that's interesting about Shadowrun is that the metatypes don't necessarily breed true. So an orc can mate with a human, a gnoll can mate with a human, a troll can mate with a human. Everybody can mate because everybody is human. They're just a subset of human. Everybody is Homo sapiens.
So this orc and this human could be brothers, basically.
Right. Everybody is Homo sapiens, but it's Homo sapiens sapiens or Homo sapiens robustus or Homo sapiens so on, right? So it's all intermingling. But what's interesting is if an orc mates with a human, that child could be human. It could be an orc. It could be a troll. It could be, like, nobody really knows why.
And two orcs could breed and that could still just be human as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
And in fact, in some cases, like Marshall, we said, was probably 18, 19 years old.
His parents could be orcs.
His parents could be orcs. And it's also possible at some point that he might still become an orc because
it's not showing yet.
Goblinization process doesn't always, you're not necessarily born that way. You can be, but sometimes it happens later in life too.
Because it was a mutation, wasn't it?
Yep. It's absolutely a mutation.
It's a mutation, but then they started to be born with it. At first people changed and then it was being born into people. Yeah. Okay.
And that leads to interesting situations as well, because if two elves mate and they give birth to an orc, that doesn't look very good to a lot of people who are maybe a little bit more into racial purity, which unfortunately is a thing that exists in Shadowrun.
Yeah, the racial tension and racial politics seems to be very much a thing in this set and very important part of it. Yeah. And I'm not against that. Like, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting thing to role play in. I'm quite enjoying it.
Right. I think it's interesting because it's not just the metatype either. Like, there's generally a lot of the racial tension that in our world would exist today between people of Caucasian descent and like Mexican descent and African descent and so on and so forth. Some of that has faded a bit and shifted more into like human versus orc or human versus troll. But there are still some tensions, particularly interestingly enough, between Caucasian or Western and Eastern cultures still clash quite a bit. So Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and so forth. There's still a lot of clashing there, even though the world itself is much more intertwined.
Yeah. So even though the new racism started, the old racism still exists as well.
Exactly.
Basically,
right.
Yeah.
It's just shifted a little bit, and a lot of times it's shifted, probably unsurprisingly, because of prosperity and money, right? Largely Japanese society is probably seen as the richest society now because their technology advanced a lot more quickly than anybody else's. And a lot of the major companies are Japanese owned, Japanese run. And that includes, Japanese in terms of like you can be an orc and still Japanese, right? Like this, the different metatypes don't just come from one ethnicity, as it were. So anyway, you guys head out into the night, and you've got some trackers in play, but you drive around the district. It's probably only about a half an hour or so before you think the person, at least with the tag, settles. You do discover fairly quickly once you leave the location, as Sigil informs you, that no, it was one of the other guys' phones that he hacked into as well. So you've got two clear indicators of where these guys are going. And they make a couple of stops. Using your comms, you can see that they apparently stop at a convenience store. And then looks like one stops at a residential location for some reason. And then before long, they go to a third location, which is where they seem to be staying as you now are driving through the streets.
So I think we take a cruise to that neighbourhood and a cruise around it, see what kind of neighbourhood it is, and then a one spy to see what kind of building that we think is their base.
Sure. So it's just outside the proper kind of red light district. It's a little bit darker here maybe because there's less neon advertising various services or clubs. Every other street, maybe even every third or fourth street light is actually functioning. So lots of darkness and shadow here and there. No, at this point there's no stoplights or anything like that. Everything is sign based, so stop signs and so forth. And yeah, before long you turn onto a stretch of road and you see a building which, just for the sake of it being cyberpunk, we're going to say you can also pull up a floor plan of that building fairly easily. Either Null or Sigil can very quickly access various, city plans and whatnot. And why didn't that activate? Activate, please.
Yay.
There we go. So, I should have added a car for you. Oh well, maybe next time. So you see a building here. It is somewhat detached from other buildings. Can I get a pointer going on here? I guess we don't really have a pointer, but I can do this. So like these blocks up here and this block right here are other buildings, right? And a lot of the buildings still look relatively solid, but again have that kind of burned out kind of feel. There's probably a lot of squatters living around. This particular building, which you have the floor plan for, apparently was once a clinic of some kind. And in fact, above the front doors, the front double doors here, there is still kind of a faded, what would have been like a backlit kind of white sign with the classic H for medical services on it. Kind of scarred up, partially broken. There are several vehicles parked in this kind of open area over here. Motorcycles, trucks, A lot of them all look kind of run down, but rugged, right? And you can see... Are you going to cruise by?
Yeah, at least once around the
Okay.
block, yeah.
So you will be able to see that there are some Billikens outside. One on the street corner, just kind of chilling out. Maybe he's actually working on his bike, something like that. One up near the other buildings, and then two flanking the doors.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
And how close does Sigil need to be to hack their system? Because they must know that people are trying to do this, right? So they're not going to just be letting people park pretty close.
Right. So in order to, like, successfully, not knowing where it is, in order to successfully hack the system, he's going to need to be probably within about 30 feet, which is 6 squares.
Yeah, so we have to be very close by. Why don't we just park up nearby, say over here or something, and then just let him try and do his thing, and if they come out and it's a problem, then we deal with a problem. What do you think? I think we could deal with a few of these chumps. It's not a problem, like.
I mean, you're the one. You've got to do the talking because I know they won't respect us. So.
I mean, like if there's only a few of them, maybe it doesn't have to come to talking. I mean, these are the streets. I'm also a gangster, but we can handle it that way as well if we need to. Like,
I wouldn't try and kill him straight away. I'd talk to him.
No.
You said they might give you some money or information.
They might just exchange information for money. They might just tell us something about these people. But I'm also worried that if we just go talk to them honestly, yeah, we're looking for these people, then they're going to be like, oh shit, bang, because they've got something to do with the disappearance of these people. When they find out somebody's looking for them, we might just get capped. So I'm not sure how I want to play it.
You could go and talk to them, and we could watch from a safe distance. But one of us is magical, right? And I think I've got a pretty good gun, so it's not like you'd be... Yeah, I've got a submachine gun, so I'd have your back. I just have to hide somewhere.
You know Sigil is armed as well.
Yeah,
so although he's a hacker, like, hackers are known to go on site with their physical team as well, because they do have to be close. So, like, Sigil is not untrained in combat.
So, do we suspect this gang of having anything to do with the disappearance of these people?
You have no reason to suspect them, but it's also not outside of the realm of possibility. You just don't have enough information yet, right?
Yeah.
I think the reason...
There are only link, right, that we really have to their disappearance.
Yeah, I think that was your decision to kind of look at the Billikens as like, this is their turf. So... if something happened to two high-profile elves in the area, they would probably know about it.
So I think we're still just at the point of talking with these guys. I don't think we want to start any trouble. How about we park in plain view of them?
Why don't you all give me a notice check as you're driving past?
Notice is on intelligence or wisdom?
Oh, I didn't want to do that. Hang on. What is that thing? Get it out of here.
It's notice wisdom or intelligence, Brian?
It'll be wisdom.
Good, because my intelligence is a lot lower than my wisdom. Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at that.
Alright.
Can I
You
just
guys
know?
drive by. It's not know, it's notice. So you're gonna roll untrained if you don't have it.
I do have notice, which is the same as no, so I don't know why I was saying it. And
wisdom.
And wisdom.
Okay, so all of you recognize, because you've seen it before, there is a vehicle parked amongst all the other vehicles that sure looks like the car that Dominic was driving.
Right. parked in their car park in amongst their vehicles.
Yep. Kind of blocked in too.
Okay, so blocked in, right? Okay, so maybe they are here, and maybe they are prisoners here. Maybe this might just get turned into a fight.
Also, keep in mind it's been a few days, so.
Cause I'm in the boot, I like pop my head through the center console and go,
sure,
guys. I don't know if you noticed, but that's Dominic's car over there.
Yeah, thanks. We all saw it. Thanks.
Should we? Right. I think we stop. We go look at Dominic's car, and then if that's what draws them out, that's what draws them out. But I think maybe Dominic and Miranda are in there, and we need to just take on these guys and go in.
Sigil, I thought that was good information I passed on to those.
Should we try and sneak in, or should we just?
Sigil doesn't like you.
Sigil didn't even pop up. He just looks at you. He's like, you're smart enough to know that he is just considering whether or not you're even worth talking to. Like, you don't have any tech on you. There's nothing about you that's interesting to Sigil. And so he looks at you and he's like, well, maybe if you had a comlink, you could write a note down about how horrible your struggles are.
I don't like you, Sigil.
How are we gonna go about this, boys?
I don't know, but I bet once we get inside, there's gonna be a thick woman inside for a member of the party to seduce again.
Yeah, I bet there's a big thick troll woman in there for you.
I will tell you right now, there are, well, I mean, some of the
well, maybe he was about to guarantee there's no big thick troll women.
They're not all men.
Maybe.
Even though it's the same picture, obviously all of these people look slightly different from each other. So, yeah, one of the ones at the front door is a woman. You know.
Yeah. Looking at the current floor plan, it looks like there's two entrances where at the front. But is that an exit? Like,
this one.
Is that also an entrance to the rear where the slums are?
So yeah, I mean, there's no indication that entrance would necessarily be an exit only, right? So you can assume it's another entrance. Whether or not it's blocked off, I mean, you'd actually have to go back there and look, and you guys don't have a drone or anything, which is another thing you can get into in this game. Drones, mech suits, there's lots of stuff you could do.
Oh yeah.
If you wanted, like, so me and Null, we're pretty sneaky, so why don't we sneak around the back and you go through the front door and make some kind of excuse for why you're there, say you want to join or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know, get yourself into the building and then we'll try and find them, and then if you can't find them, then
so yeah,
Null comlink you, and you can comlink Null, and I
like your idea, Chris. Maybe I try and bullshit my way in, and then if it doesn't work, and I end up fighting with this gang, it doesn't matter because we're playing a one shot. It's only a few sessions, so I don't have to worry about the long term future of my character in the hood.
Sure. So, also, I should point out that Sigil, from experience, is also relatively good at sneaking, and he's going to need to be a lot closer to hack any system. So he grudgingly looks up at Burn and kind of angles towards the open kind of pull window to the cabin. It's like, I'll go around back with you two, looking at Null.
So I'm going to chuck Norris in the front by myself. I like it.
Well, I mean, an elf isn't going to walk up to the front door with you.
No, absolutely not. The thing is, Burn could, because Burn, they'll have already heard about Burn in this, because word travels fast in the hood. They'll already know about Burn, the guy that sticks up.
The guy who fucking turned up at the thing has just decided to suddenly swanny on up to the fucking base.
Base.
No. I don't think that's a good idea.
I bet they've met humans who want to be in their orc gang before. I bet you're not the first. I bet they'll love you.
So here's this though too. a lot of humans probably look the same to orcs. Just the same way a lot of orcs might look the same to certain humans. So maybe, but it's up to you guys. If 3 wants to go around back and 1 in the front, you can do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna go act like a new recruit around the front.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've got a technique where I can ghost. I can basically just disappear for a little bit and appear, but it's really short distance. It's only short distances, so maybe I can.
Yeah, and anytime you want to use that, just let me know, because there will likely be a lot of cover in there you can duck behind and disappear. So.
Yeah, I want to be superstar. I'm more looking if there's any windows. I'm like, why fucking go through doors if I can?
Sure.
Sneak through a window. Can I see any windows?
So
yeah, you do that then.
You know what? Let me, from what you've seen so far, let me do this. I'm gonna draw for you. There's a window here, a window here,
Ooh.
and you can see a window here and here.
Are they like second floor windows or like ground floor
No,
windows?
so this is a 1-story building. It was a relatively small clinic.
A wee chemist.
Yeah, there might have been like a small pharmacy attached to it.
Oh, clinic as in like the cybernetics or plastic surgery or
just urgent care.
Or just an actual surgery clinic, yeah. Because I figure they're a very commercial thing, a clinic in this setting.
Very much so.
Even like emergency care, imagine that's very commercialized, all big flashy lights and signs and.
Yeah, so like if you don't have like a private hookup with like a doctor, then a lot of people will essentially buy like medical contracts, and the strength of those contracts varies. Like you could just buy a basic contract and maintain it for relatively cheap, where you can go to associated clinics and hospitals and get support, but you probably have to wait for a while and so on and so forth. But if you really have money, you can buy assault and rescue contracts, where if you go down, they have a biomonitor attached to you. They're constantly monitoring your health. And if you go down, they will send an assault team with a tac squad to show up at your location.
Just pull you out of there.
Infiltrate, exfiltrate with you, and then give you the highest medical care possible. That's very expensive.
Yeah. That's the
dock
millionaire
wagon
package.
Yeah, dock wagon assault contract is like $500K a month, something like that.
Crazy money. That's cool. That's very cool. So that's like that's the Bill Gates, the Jeff Bezos package.
Right.
Jeff Bezos.
So, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna go in the front and just act like I want to be a new recruit. I want to join the gang. Hey guys, can I join your gang?
So,
more
do
like,
you just
what's
get
up,
out and
homies?
start
Can I
heading that
join your
direction?
gang? Aye.
Okay. So, Cutter's heading towards the front. What are you guys doing?
I'm gonna go a little bit ahead of Sigil and Burns, because I can do some stealthy sneaking to see if I can get to the back door.
Right. So you can see that these two windows here are actually kind of opaque, so you can't see inside them. These two windows are... Oh, you can't see my indicator. Hang on. No, that's not what I want. Delete that, please. Where's my regular measuring stick? There it is. These two indicators right here on this angled portion, those are opaque. These two windows right here are boarded over, essentially, the street-facing windows.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to sneak past, ducking under like boxes if I can, to try and get around to the back entrance.
Okay. So go ahead and start moving yourself. You'd probably make it to the corner of the building. Back here, there are no windows on this portion. But yeah, there's some debris and like maybe a dumpster and some trash cans and stuff like that for you to kind of stealthily move your way back. So you can head up to the corner here and make a sneak check, which is successful.
11.
Yeah. So Sigil will follow.
Can I make a look tough roll?
Yeah, we'll get to you.
I want to look tough.
All right, so Sigil rolled a 5. So as you head up to this corner, if you wanted to go that far, right?
Yeah, I want to see because I want to see if
for the
there's
back
anyone.
entrance.
Yeah, to see if there's any guards or.
So as
anyone.
Sigil is heading up behind you, you actually hear him knock over a bottle and run into a trash can. But there's no kind of indicators that anybody is responding to any of that. It just sounds, maybe it's lost in the sounds of the city. But yeah, he shows up behind you. And what's Byrne doing?
I'm gonna make my way the whole way around to the same place. And
go in the same direction?
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and make your sneak check.
Oh, I was gonna
With
move
Dex.
first. Hold on.
Yeah, move yourself up there,
This-
but yeah, make your check.
Dex. Go.
Nice. Okay. So you maybe step on the bottle that Sigil knocked over and it shatters, but again, it just sounds like Null is very aware of how they're not doing as great as they could, but there doesn't seem to be an alarm raised. There doesn't seem to be any kind of negative stuff. As you look around the corner, you don't see anybody back there. Also, you can tell looking around the corner that there are no windows along the back side of the building.
I don't have any like lockpicking skills.
That would also be sneak.
Oh, okay, cool. Then I'm
Yep.
gonna tell the other two to like stay back, don't fucking touch anything and make any noise, or have a burping competition or something, and then like sneak, and then see if I can, see if the door's got any alarms or anything, and then see if I can pick it.
Sure.
It
All right.
is in the area that we're at, just so that I can like get a higher bit of advantage. Or not advantage, but a vantage.
Yeah.
Is like, so the building to the left like climbable, or the building that we're at like climbable, so that I can like get on top and just have an eye view of Null?
Sure, there's probably like a dumpster you can jump up on top of, and then maybe a couple of handholds you might be able to get yourself to the roof of the clinic. The building behind you was at some point a multiple story building, so, and the side that's facing you is relatively sheer. So although there might be places to get to up there, you don't know that you'd really be able to. But the building in front of you, like I said, is only one story, so with a little bit of work you might be able to get up there. That is, if you want to do that though, that's going to be an exert check, which you are actually trained in. So you would roll exert and you would add your strength, or click on the strength button. You don't have a strength bonus, but that's what you would roll. You know what? Oh, okay, 6. So yeah, it takes a little bit of effort. Probably by the time Null gets to the back door, you have, gotten up to the roof. So we can
I was about to say
place you
Null's
on
already
top.
got through it by the time that I climb up.
I honestly, she probably will have gotten through the door, assuming she succeeds by the time you make it to the roof. But you're on the roof.
She's just giving him busy work to keep out of her hair for 5 minutes, so she's happy.
So Sigil is staying
was
at the
up here to
corner
protect
because you
you.
haven't told him different. Do you want him to try to access anything at this point? Well, you know what? Let's go over to Oliver. So Oliver, you've walked up to the front at this point. These two Billikens see you coming, and you can tell that they're kind of looking you over, looking for any kind of affiliation. It's clear that you're not a Billiken, so they're like, "What do you want there, guy?"
I want a piece of the action. I want to be one of the gang. I'm in the right place, right, Billikens?
How'd you know?
I'm from around here. I just know. You know, when you live around here, you know.
Where's your pad?
I'll give them an address just a couple of streets over. That's like a residential place in the hood where it would make sense that I would live. Something realistic.
Okay. Give me a... you don't have it, so give me an untrained roll, but you can add your charisma and add 2.
That big charisma bonus of 2 that I've got. Of 0, I mean, sorry.
Right. Yeah, you're just going to get a +2.
So I'm just getting a +2 on this.
So they're like, we don't just let anybody come up and join. Like, why do you want to be a Billiken?
I'm not just anybody. I'm a street samurai. I've got skills. I've got, you know, I'm somebody you want to have in the gang. I'm not just anybody, my friend.
Okay, you geared up?
Yeah. And you'll see that I'm carrying. I'm packing heat. I'm not hiding it. It's just on like just hanging by my waist.
How'd you get all that? You got a backer? You do this on your own?
No, I got a little bit of work doing shadow running. It was alright for a while, but it feels just a little bit much like working for the man. It's, you know, paying your taxes and that. I don't know. I just wanted to get back to the streets, you know.
How do we know you're not just some rich boy cosplaying? And the other one, the one south of the doorway is like, I know how we can tell. And he takes off his coat, puts it on the ground, steps up, and just kind of gets into a boxing setup.
I'll smile and take off my waistcoat, and I've got a bare chest underneath, and I'll just put my hands up. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay, we can do this. No problem.
So back to the door. Let's get a sneak test to unlock the door from Null, because it is locked. Okay. So yeah, you're able to very expertly, very deftly unlock the door. Do either of you want to have Null do anything? Or not Null, I'm sorry, Sigil do anything at this point? Or he's standing right next to the building.
I mean, can he like move and hack at the same time?
I mean, essentially, hacking is an action for him, but there's only so many hacks he's going to be able to do. Without going into the system in detail, he has a certain amount of access, and once he's used up that access, he's not going to be able to do any more hacking things.
I presume if he's through the door, it's going to be easier, right, than being outside? If he's inside the building.
Potentially. Do you wave him forward?
Yeah, I mean, can I creak open? I know it's unlocked, but can I open it a little bit? Oh, okay.
You don't see anybody in the hallway, although...
Sweet.
Yeah, no, you don't see anybody in there.
I'll call Sigil over and... Well, I can just use the comm thing, can't I? I guess I could, I'll have to wave at the other one who's on the roof and be like... something. Like if he wants to come here, if he wants to stay outside.
So Burn, up on the roof, you notice that there are some skylights. And a couple of holes, right? So just where the roof appears to have fallen in. Skylight wise, there is a large skylight right here. And there is another large skylight over here. Largely intact, maybe a couple of shattered panes here and there. Not open though. Doesn't look like they're made to open either. However, you feel fairly confident if you wanted to crash down through one of them, you could. There is a gaping hole in the roof over here. And some signs of like a wall or a support wall that has kind of crumbled a little bit. And there are some smaller holes over here. So you're on top of the building. What do you want to do?
So there's holes that looks like I could go through. Potentially.
You definitely could fit through this gaping hole right here.
Right.
This one.
So
These
I'm
holes,
gonna
probably not.
I'm gonna whisper into my Casio. No, I'm gonna move into the building. I find another way in, and I try to slip through the hole.
Okay. So
knowing that I don't have any comlink, by the way, knowing.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Are you going to move stealthily as you head up to the big hole?
Yeah.
Okay, so give me another sneak check. Null, you've entered. You're gonna need to give me another sneak check.
Okay.
And
that's Dex, yeah.
Sigil is gonna have to add Dex to that. Sigil's gonna have to make another sneak check as well.
Ooh.
Did I get Null's new check?
Oh, sorry, it didn't go. I clicked it, but it didn't go through. Hold on. Again.
Sneaky.
Oh yeah, Null's
Solid.
good.
14?
Unsurprisingly. Okay, so all of you did quite well. So a couple of things are going to show up. If you want to move Burn up to the edge of that hole, where whatever portion, you're not gone through it yet. I just want you to move up to the hole because you're going to see some stuff. No,
Is
that's
this
the
hole
skylight.
or this one? Oh.
Yeah, the irregular looking one. So, all right. So I'll get back to you and the two in the hallway. Although with that sneak check, Null and Sigil can move forward. If you want, you can stealthily move past the openings and kind of glance both ways to look, or you could stay on your side of the think of them as just like, openings in the hallway to kind of peer both directions. It's up to you.
Yeah, I'll quickly sneak a look each way to see if there's anyone down each way.
Without crossing?
I want to look and then decide to cross.
Okay, so we'll come back to you. All right, so this guy has stepped up to you, Oliver. Are you going to just go straight unarmed, or are you going to pop blades?
No, I'm not gonna pop blades. I'm gonna go fist fight him. I'm not gonna like take my gun off and put it to the side though. It's still gonna be hanging from my waist, but I'm gonna clearly just like bare knuckle box the guy.
Okay.
If he comes at me with bare knuckles, I'll go at him with bare knuckles. Whatever he comes at me with.
He's coming at you with bare knuckles.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put you two into a fight. I want a new one. Can I start a new encounter? Yeah, I can. Encounter number 2. How do I get over that one? Okay. So, we're going to add you two. And roll initiative. Ooh, he way beats you on initiative.
How do I roll initiative? What's the button?
Oh, I rolled for you because
okay.
You don't have access to it on the encounter screen for some stupid reason.
Okay.
So yeah, you got a 9, he got a 1, so he got a 9, you got a 1, so he's gonna go first. And again, I'm just using his attacks that I have plugged in. He doesn't have just unarmed, so he's not gonna do as much damage as it shows.
Okay.
But here we go. He's gonna launch a haymaker at you. All right. Now, I believe, if I recall correctly, you have dermal armor, right?
Armor class 18.
Yeah, even without your waistcoat, like that's just built into you.
Yeah.
So yeah, he throws a punch at you, and we're gonna say, since you are just kind of doing fisticuffs, I mean, he's putting some force into it, right? He tries to hit you, and I'm gonna say that he does, right? He does hit you, but when he hits you, you see his eyes kind of widen a little bit. He does no damage to you because your dermal armor is just so potent. He can feel it when he hits you. And he, takes a step back and gets defensive. And he's like, "Oh, you've got dermal armor, don't you?"
Oh, yes, my friend.
Okay, so go ahead and roll your unarmed attack.
Okay. And where do I find that attack?
No, it should be on your under your attacks. You should have unarmed.
Yep. No modifiers, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, so an 18 is definitely going to hit him. You don't hit his trauma target. Not that it would matter because it doesn't multiply. So you hit him solid with 4 points of damage. Are you attempting to like hurt him, or are you just kind of doing subdual, like this is just a friendly like punching match?
I mean, there's no such thing as a friendly punch, really.
Yeah.
So I want to hurt him. I don't want to kill him, but I do want to hurt him. I want to show him I'm tough, though. I'm not pulling my punches. It's a real punch, but I'm not trying to kill him. I'm not going for the temple or the throat. I'm not going for the kill spots.
So yeah, where do you hit him then?
Just on the nose. Let's say right in the nose.
Okay, so you go straight for a jab to the face, in the nose.
Jab right on the nose, yeah.
And he like takes the hit and takes a step back, and you can see blood start to come out of his nose.
Yeah. So...
And he's like, "Whoa, okay." And he steps away from you.
Nice, okay. That's what I was going for with the nose, because it's not going to kill anybody, but there's blood and it's dramatic, and it's serious pain. That's what I'm going for.
You say that until you find out that orcs actually have the sharpest point at the top of their nose, and the wrong punch could end up protruding straight through to their brain.
Right. So yeah, he steps back and he puts his hands down. He walks over to pick up his coat. You can see him kind of unsteady a little bit as he bends over to pick up his coat. And he looks at his buddy. He's like, "He's all right. He's all right." And his buddy's like, "Are you all right?"
I'm gonna bend down and grab the guy's coat for him and go, "Come on, can I buy you a drink inside?"
And he's like, "Well, we don't pay for it, but yeah, let's go grab one." Right? So
it works.
He goes with you, and you can move yourself inside if you want. And now I'll reveal some things to everybody. So he comes inside with you. In this front room, there are more orcs just chilling out. I will say that because of the distance, Null and Sigil can also probably hear Cutter at this point, if you're saying anything as you enter. No, but yeah, let's actually make these guys visible for you. So there's 3 more orcs that are chilling out in here. This first room that Cutter is in just looks like kind of a waiting area that's been turned into like just a chill out space, right? There is there's a pool table, there's a couple of fridges, some comfortable couches. I mean, ratty, beat up, torn, ripped, but they're there. This looks like just kind of a clubhouse area, and the other orcs look up as you come in, but they see that you're with the guy. He says, "Eric, by the way."
Cutter. Nice to meet you.
Ooh, Cutter. I should get a cool name like that.
I show him some scars. It's not as cool as you think.
Oh man. So as you're having that conversation, we'll say that Burn, at the edge of the hole as you sneak up to it, you notice 2 more orcs. This orc here. Come on. That guy, it looks to be working on something like a workbench, and in fact, because the wall is kind of crumbled here, you can see that this room looks to be like a storage / workshop kind of area. And then down here in the triangular room, you see that there is an orc that's kind of stretched out on a cot, his arm just kind of hanging over the edge. He's just sleeping, snoring loudly. And you can see through the opening in this room that there are a bunch more like cots, some ramshackled to get put together bunk beds, things like that. Looks like there's bedding in there for at least 20 to 30 people. So that's what you see from the edge of your hole. Before you do anything, we'll come back over to Null and Sigil. Null, as you kind of glance both ways through that passage before you decide to walk through, you see it'll be to your right, this guy. So he is, he's large. It is a troll. And he looks, let's give you a clearer view of him. Like so. Only half of his faceplate is painted blue. And the other half is silver. Large man sitting on, essentially, for lack of a better term, a throne. Made out of scrap, spare tires, all kinds of stuff. And he's just sitting on the throne, daintily picking up a large, again, stein, but he's kind of with one pinky up, daintily picking it up in his massive hand and taking a drink from it. It looks like a dark liquid, maybe a like a Guinness or something along those lines, some kind of dark ale. And he's got his pad out in his other hand, and he's just kind of thumbing through it and taking a look at stuff. So, now, we'll start with Null and Sigil. What do you want to do? You've seen him around the corner.
I mean, how easy would it be for me to try and sneak into the next room?
Which room?
The tiny room right next to me, the little diddy one. There's the 2 square one.
So for you, with him looking at his pad, probably pretty easy. For Null, might not be terribly hard, but if you just want to go by yourself, you can.
I was thinking if this is like a storeroom, I could set Sigil up in it and he could do all his computer stuff, but it might be like a bathroom, or it might have a...
Sure.
So yeah, I want to try and... I'll leave Sigil there for a moment, but I want to see if the next room's open and what's inside it.
Okay, so you've had a couple of really successful sneak rolls, so I'm going to let them ride for a minute. Okay. So yeah, you can head into that room. And this room right here is the one you were talking about?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. So yeah, it's a bathroom.
Okay.
Just let him park up in there, sit him on the toilet, it'll be fine.
That's what I thought, yeah. But I'm thinking, I'm just thinking it might be easier for him if I can help him. I mean, I could easily cause like a distraction, right? And like throw a rock to get the big guy to look for a minute and help Sigil get into that room. Maybe. I don't know what Rob would have to do for a distraction. Or if I tell him with stealth to get into that room.
Yeah, I mean, you could potentially set up some kind of a distraction. So, if your goal is just to make him look at something else, I will say that he's already looking at his data pad. He's not looking out. So, he's not aware. Sigil is going to get a bonus to step into the room. So it's up to you whether or not you want to add a distraction to that, which might actually draw the troll's attention.
No, I've seen toddlers with iPads, so it's fine. I'll let him keep looking at it.
So I am going to make him roll again, though, because he's not a specialist, but I'm going to give him a +2. Yeah, he's good. So he is able to quickly sneak around the corner into that room. Do you want to stay in that room, too, or are you doing anything else?
Oh no, I'm just gonna tell him to stop trying to hack the system.
As you came around that corner and looked, you don't see anybody down this hallway. But you do notice, obviously, the several doors. You know that opening is a turn and opens out onto the street, or the square, as it were.
I'm gonna see if I can go in this room, or check it out at least.
Okay. So the door is unlocked, and yeah, you can step into the room. There's a hole in the ceiling, so you can see some of the night sky through it. And this room appears to be just a not used room. At one point, from some of the debris in here, it looks like it was probably a single what's the word I'm looking for? Like a room that somebody, a patient would be in, a patient room for longer term stay, as it were. But it doesn't look like they're using this room currently. Maybe because it's got a hole in the roof.
I should have put Sigil in this one. Don't make the orcs go to the toilet. Don't give them any of your dodgy burgers.
Okay, so let's go back to Burn. Burn, you've seen those two orcs. One is awake and working on a workbench of some kind in a storeroom. The one in the triangular room is asleep, or appears to be on a cot. You could also potentially drop into that hallway that's directly beneath you. You do not know that troll is there. So, what do you want to do?
So the one that's on the workbench. That's in the rectangular room, right?
Correct.
And if I was to drop down, would I drop down behind him?
Yes. Yeah, I'll say that he is right here, and the workbench is on this wall. So yeah, you can drop down behind him.
It's hard to tell you what I want to do without pretending that I don't know that fella's there. So
do the best you can. It's a game. It's fine. Whatever.
It's fine. Yeah, do you know what? I see two of them, and I think to myself, I better go into this hallway. That's probably going to be the easiest place. I'm looking for this elf anyway, so I drop down into the hallway.
All right. Are you going to try to do so sneakily?
Oh yeah. I'm going to do it quietly. I know I'm in enemy territory.
Okay, so go ahead and drop down, and make a sneak check. I didn't realize you guys were all going to be stealth. Okay, so yes, you're able to drop down into the hallway. You immediately see this troll, because there are lights in that room, I should have mentioned as well. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you plaster yourself up against the wall to try to stay out of his line of sight, but he does not appear to react to you. Now, would you be able to move into that room and go any place without him seeing you? Probably not. You know that the door behind you leads into the triangular room where you saw an orc sleeping. Go ahead.
Before I go any further, could I do notice to see if there's signs on the door that's in front? See, the door that's beyond the troll, the one that goes to that looking place.
You can see that door. Instead of a notice roll, what I want you to do is make a luck save. We will see if you are lucky enough for that to still have a sign on it, being that this is a ruined building. So you were successful. There is still the remnants of a sign over that door, and it looks like it says, or once said fully, emergency. So maybe that's where they had kind of emergency stalls for people to sit in, kind of like an emergency room where people just go into an alcove with a curtain. At least that's how it is here. I don't know how it is for you guys.
So
you don't get a full room
say,
just for quick treatment.
Doesn't say prison.
No, it doesn't say prison.
Or this is where we keep the elves.
No, but you know, since you're thinking about it, and you're a fairly smart dude. You're very smart, actually. I mean, you're smart. You are smarter than somebody normally with an 18 intelligence because you're a prodigy where your intelligence is concerned. So in your mind, you're thinking, okay, so that's the room where the emergency stalls would be. I saw the map and I saw that there are these stalls. If these people were going to make a prison out of anything, that would be the perfect room for it, because you basically have an area where you already have 5 potential cells set up.
She.
Okay, I end my turn. You can move on from me now.
Cutter.
Yes.
Eric
peaked, Chris. Is that the peak? Is that the top we're getting today?
Eric heads over to the fridge, pulls a beer for you, brings it back over. He grabs 2 beers, brings it back over. He cracks one of the beers on his tusk and hands it to you.
Take it. Drink half
All
of
right,
it in one
and
swallow.
then he cracks the second one on his tusk and he takes a swig. He's like, "Boys, we got a potential new recruit. This is Cutter. What's the boss doing?" And they're like, one of them is like, "What's he always doing? Dude's scrolling on his data pad." He's like, "Well, you want to go meet the boss?"
Sure, now's as good a time as any, isn't it?
It sure is. All right, so we're coming up on 3 hours. I think this is a good place to stop for today and open with meeting the boss and possibly all of you getting into some serious trouble next time. What do you guys think?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as we finish, we currently know that there are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these Billikens, maybe more. You don't know. You haven't looked in all the rooms. And this big-ass troll, who is apparently the boss.
Amazing.
Now, whether that's figurative or realistic, you know, who knows. And so, yeah, we'll pick it up here next time.
Excellent. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, YouTube viewers, for watching. This was Session 2, Cities Without Number, Side Jobs. Peace.